Struggling to earn 3 stars at Town Hall 13? Well, these are the 5 best attack strategies you should use against any base. Starting at number 5, we have the Fireball Super Witches. This is still an incredibly strong strategy, but might not get nearly as much value with the 5 tile radius that the Fireball now has instead of 6 tiles. Now, in order to start things off, we want to use the Grand Warden Walk first. Now, since Town Hall 13 doesn't have battle builders, you can use your 2 Earthquake spells to activate the Town Hall and use your invisibility spells to launch the Fireball in and clear out a large area, including the defensive CC, which can always be great value. Otherwise, these are the kinds of things that you're looking for since you can't get a larger area of value from the Fireball. But you do want to make sure that you are setting up funneling, which is exactly what we're doing with the Warden here with a short Warden Walk to clear even the Town Hall. This way we can use the Queen and the Siege Barrack on the other side to cut off that part of the funnel. This is going to make things really easy with her action figure and magic mirror, so then that way that side of the funnel is cut off for our Super Witches, our Barbarian King, and our Warden to move in. This way we can have a nice large push to move in with an early rage to get everything into the base. If you have some of the queens move in, that's completely fine too, because you want to make sure that you dive into the core where you can use the Barbarian King's Earthquake Boots and the Giant Gauntlet in order to keep him alive and still push in with a back-end rage spell to keep everything moving, including the big boys, the Super Witches, and your heroes. Now on the back end, we've got the Royal Champion. This is where we've got free spells to help deal with things like a single target Inferno, but we've also got the Rocket Spear and the Electro Boots. The Electro Boots will help us clear through non-defensive buildings and skeleton traps, while the Rocket Spear can snipe down defenses. And then that way, as long as we have some form of cleanup, you should be able to 3-star with this easily. At number 4, we have Hybrid, but instead of running a Queen charge, we're running the Royal Champion charge. This is a lot more effective, a lot more flexible, and you're more than likely gonna 3-star with this version than trying to rely on the Queen charge. Now for this attack, we're going to be starting with a Royal Champion charge. You don't need to use the Rocket Spears immediately, but I would recommend using them early on so that way you're able to clear through plenty of defenses early on. These lesser defenses, you can control the pathing a little bit better, and what's going to make this extremely nice is you then have 4 invisibility spells to work with that you can use. I do recommend overlapping defenses so that way you're able to do damage to them while the Royal Champion is doing damage. Other than that, you just want to use your invisibility spells every 4 seconds in order to get the best value. That way, once all of them are exhausted, you can recall her out of there. Using a couple of troops like baby dragons and wizards will allow you to clear some of the leftover trash buildings where you then have the Barbarian King to set one side of your funnel. Now, obviously, you could either run the Giant Gauntlet and Rage Vial or the Spiky Ball with the Snake Bracelet, which are 2 of the best ways to create the funnel. And the Barbarian King is really the only thing that you need in terms of funneling, because other than that, you've got the Archer Queen that is going to be working in for the Town Hall. So while that is happening, you've got the Grand Warden with the Royal Champion, the Miners, and the Hog Riders with the Battle Drill in order to start moving in. So while your Hybrid is working in, you should use an early heal spell in order to power things in and keep everything alive while having the Queen to clear the Town Hall. This way you can use the Grand Warden's Eternal Tome as you get to the core, and that should allow your Queen to have plenty of time to take down the Town Hall, create really good pathing with her Magic Mirror and her action figure, while having another back-end heal for your Hybrid. Otherwise, you have free spells that you can use over splash damage defenses like the Scatter Shot, Multi-Target Inferno, and as long as you have really good pathing, you should be able to 3-star any base with this. This is just a better version of Hybrid, especially if you're a bigger fan of this, and this is absolutely going to work most of the time. At number 3, we have to include the Super Hogs. With just their ability to split into 2 units, this is a very strong option because you always have a defensive targeting unit and something to clean up to really easily get 3 stars. Pretty much to keep this simple, we're starting with another Royal Champion charge. This is the best way to not only set up pathing, but to also clear through defenses. And you can use the Rocket Spear early on in order to clear through some defenses early on, so you can control that Royal Champion and getting better value. Obviously, you want to use your invisibility spells every 4 seconds, but don't be afraid to overlap your invisibility spells in order to let the Electro Boots finish off any buildings. But this will allow you to set up good pathing, and if you can get something like the Eagle Artillery, that's even better. Otherwise, after that, you're just going to recall her out of there so you can use her with the Hog portion. This way, what we're going to do on the other side is we're going to be setting up funneling. Using a Yeti and Wizard is a great way in order to do that, and having the King and Queen to move in with the log launcher is the main thing. Having Yetis within that log launcher is incredibly helpful, as it allows you to deal with defenses and obviously just do a lot more, or get a lot more value from the base. Otherwise, you just need to make sure that the King and Queen kind of move in together. You can obviously use your Barbarian King's Earthquake Boot and Spiky Ball, or the Giant Gauntlet and Rage Vial. You have some options in that. And obviously, you want to use the action figure with the Magic Mirror in a kill squad type push like this in order to get deeper in. Now, if everything kind of does start to stall up, that's completely fine, because this strategy is really overkill. Your heroes should get a large amount of value, which leaves the Super Hogs to really get and clear the entire rest of the base. They are just incredibly strong because you have so many of them, and underneath the life gem, they just have so much HP. Obviously, you want to bring in a couple regular Hog Riders in order to clear up funneling for them, for the Super Hogs. That way you can use an Eternal Tome as you work a little bit deeper in. And obviously having some Headhunters, if there are any enemy heroes, is really helpful. But having a Rage and a heal, especially towards the back end, is really good. And then obviously having a back end heal spell to top everything off, to really help everything move around. That is really realistically how you're going to be able to 3-star any base. And as long as you have some form of cleanup with minions, the Super Riders, Headhunters, etc., you should be able to 3-star 9 times out of 10. At number 2, we have to include the Super Yetis because of how simply strong they are. They are incredibly tanky, they do a lot of damage, and the Electromites just have so much versatility as they're able to stun and do quite a bit of damage on defenses and buildings. So to kick things off, we're going to be running another Royal Champion charge. Now, instead of using the ability early, we're going to be actually running the Royal Champion in order to just clear up a funnel for our Super Yetis. So we're using our invisibility spells every 4 seconds in order to make sure that that funnel is set. This way, she can kind of keep moving between defenses while also using a couple Valkyries in order to set up the funnel on the other side by clearing some leftover trash buildings. That way, we can just let the Royal Champion get value before recalling her back. This then allows us to use the Siege Barrack and the Queen on the other side, which is going to cut off that part of our funnel. Having the Magic Mirror and the action figure is a great combo again for this, so we can set up proper funneling. And in case you're dealing with a single target Inferno, skeleton spells are perfect for this, and they will provide more than enough tankage for your main push. This way, realistically, you can have your Super Yetis and the Grand Warden with the Barbarian King to start working their way in. You've got the Super Wall Breakers in order to open up the base, and a Rage spell to power everything up as you work in. The main goal here is to make sure that you use the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome in order to keep everything alive, including the Super Yetis, while using the Barbarian King's Earthquake Boots and Spiky Ball in order to open up the entire core. This way, realistically, you can have another Rage spell if you like, or you can use the Royal Champion on the back end in order to help clear through the final remaining defenses. Obviously, with the Rocket Spear, you're going to be able to get plenty of good value, and if you can get any stuns off from the Electromites, they're even better. Other than that, you're going to be able to smash through any base with this, and having the furnaces on the back end to help clean up is always incredibly nice. Otherwise, the strategy is very fun and very strong. And the best strategy for Th15 has to be the Mass Invis Dragons. It's just incredibly strong with the Royal Champion being able to clear so much of the base, and then the Dragons can basically just spam their way to a 3-star. Pretty much to keep things very simple, you're going to start with the Royal Champion Charge. You can use a few balloons to clear through any outside buildings, but you're using the Royal Champion with her Rocket Spear in order to set up a bit of funneling before she actually does start to work in with the invisibility spells, and that way she can really clear through a lot of buildings. Don't be afraid though to turn defenses invisible. You can skip through defenses, and that way she's able to get plenty of good value in the process, being able to clear through plenty of buildings with the help of the Electro Boots. Now obviously I do recommend using an Earthquake spell and a Rage spell. This is going to help you as it's going to allow your Royal Champion to do more damage, and since you don't have to worry about battle builders here, you can actually use them more freely and you can get plenty of value. Being able to clear through the core of the base is great, and for a Royal Champion charge using dragons, that's exactly what you want. With the Queen, you can run either Magic Mirror and action figure, or you can run the healer puppets with the giant arrow. You have a lot of options, but that way you can set up part of your funnel so you can have the dragons and the stone slammer moving in through the entire rest of the base. Having something like an inferno dragon within that CC can help deal with storages quite easily, while also help dealing with enemy heroes like the archer queen and the barbarian king, while staying relatively protected behind the dragons. Otherwise, we want to use the eternal tome and healing tome to keep everything alive, and the dark orb in order to keep everything, all the defenses slowed, so we can have the dragons just fan out, spread out, and basically clear through the entire rest of the base. There's really nothing else that can stop these dragons, and here at Town Hall 13, it's pretty dang overkill, and this will absolutely 3-star any base as long as you can get plenty of good value and keep that Royal Champion alive until the very last invisibility spell. Now, each of these 5 attack strategies are just insanely strong, insanely versatile, and obviously, as long as you know what you're doing, they're a guaranteed 3-star. But if you do want the easiest attack strategies for every Town Hall level, I recommend checking out this video, and YouTube says this one is right for you.